in this place. I had an opportunity this morning to give thanks. One of the things we're going to be talking about today is giving thanks, because we are harvesting the attitude of gratitude throughout this month. And so I had the opportunity to be creative this morning because I awakened to no water in my house. Luckily, I had some in my little tea kettle so I could have a cup of coffee and think about it. And I was up early, and so I thought, well, may as well get to church early and, I'll set up our tableau and get extra practice in. So I thought, well, what are you going to do with your hair? Because it needs a bit of help in the morning. And will you arrive there dirty and smelly? Because I did some work yesterday. I said, no, I'll arrive there and I'll have a nice warm bath in the sink. Well, having never had a bath in our sink this morning, it was quite, I just did a little bit. I didn't jump in there like we used to bathe our babies in the kitchen sink after, remember that? Some of you maybe did before, yeah? And hope they didn't conk their head on the porcelain, and right after we scrubbed the vegetables out, we put the babies in, or dogs or cats or whatever. But anyway, and I discovered that our pilot light is off, which is why, even though we turn on the heaters and turn on the hot water, there isn't any. So as soon as we remedy that little minor thing, we'll be with hot water again. So here I am, freshly coiffed, having had a cold bath. But I gave thanks that I had a mind that was quick, and I had a body that recovered from, oh my God, it's cold. And I'm here with you now with that experience. But as I moved in, as I drove in this morning at dark 30, I noticed that there were little gopher mounds outside. No, this is a good thing. I'm giving thanks for this. Outside the railroad tie. Now, it has been my prayer for almost 2 years to convince those gophers to do whatever they wanted outside there, because we would like to have a front lawn that looks like we have a golf course, maybe. And maybe we will. So you've seen me, and we've taken Linda's used kitty litter, and I put mothballs down these holes, and you've seen me put the hose down, hoping not to drown them, but to make it so uncomfortable that they would want to move. Yeah, because this is a holy, sacred place. I don't want it ever to be any kind of killing field, even for gophers. So I thought, we can't do that. The vibes will get out. The animals will know, and we'll feel it as people. So, I'll be darned. Yesterday, after Peg's class, I went out, I was talking to her, and on the other side of the railroad track, I saw some dirt flipping. And there was a bold little gopher. I saw her, industrious, and she even looked at me. I don't know that she winked, but it was kind of like, I got it. Okay, finally, I'm going to build on that side. And when I arrived this morning, there were a few more. So I think that the condos have moved over, and they've given us back our grass. Now, friends, it only took 2 years of prayer to have that happen, because I've been with the hose. Some of you see me. I've been with the hose. I don't want to kill you, but I want to make it uncomfortable. I don't want to kill you, but I want to make it uncomfortable. And here's the great aha. None of us move to a new state of being until the old state of being begins to be uncomfortable. We just can't live there anymore. We're just not comfortable. So we strike out to do a new thing. It may take a day or two. We may at first bury ourselves under the covers, but eventually, if life gets too tight and we're uncomfortable, we'll move. Even if it's to the other side of the railroad. I'm thrilled. And so as I was leaving yesterday, I also saw, because we have 3.8 acres that are part of our holy campus. We want everything beautiful and happy and healthy. The vegetables are growing out there. Nothing bothers those vegetables. We are a garden right out in God's country. Yeah, there are no fences. There's no poison. There's no nothing except us and the vegetables. The other thing I gave thanks for this morning as I drove up, the attitude of gratitude in everything. It was the Apostle Paul who said, in everything, give thanks. And he wrote that idea to the Ephesians and the Philippians and the Greeks and everybody that he could write to. Say, no matter what happens, no matter what it looks like, give thanks for it. In the end, it's a good thing. We just can't always see the end. And we get upset and discouraged. So I drove around, and here on the other side, outside where our grass is, because our wonderful gardener Juan has the backyard looking as lovely as the front yard, were more of these gopher holes on the other side of the railroad track. It's kind of like that 100th monkey idea that Linda told us about. It's like, okay, everybody's going to get the idea, and then they're going to pass it on to the children, the baby gophers, saying, no, you build on this. Don't you think that kind of... Are you with me in how that kind of thinking can grow? It's amazing. And everywhere we go, we bring our consciousness with us. So I was thankful for the gophers getting the idea, and I don't have to borrow any used kitty litter, and I don't have to do that anymore. I don't think. They may need a second lesson, at which time I would get the hose out again and say, now remember. But I don't think so. I had the joy as we harvest gratitude. You see, gratitude has neighbors and cousins and friends called happiness and joy and kindness. I had the opportunity to harvest great joy on Friday because for your community at the high school, I had the opportunity to teach algebra and geometry. Now, you know my story about algebra and how I couldn't see the board and failed it. But I had the opportunity to do that. And here's the thing. As I walked into the classroom, flicked on the light, all around the board were all these theorems and everything, of which I was not afraid anymore because I did eventually pass algebra. But I got this great joy because under and around them, 360, were affirmations. Affirmations. Mathematical things, but also affirmations. And I brought back to you today 3 of my favorite. I was so joyous. Can you imagine the students? I gave them their assignment. I said, do this on the board. And then I've got my tablet and I'm going around their classroom writing things down. Yeah. I have a reputation at the high school. But here are 3 of those affirmations that are germane to what we're talking about today. Giving thanks, being thankful. Here's the first one. George Eliot. It is never too late to be what you might have been. Do you love that? It's never too late. You're never too old. None of that. It's never too late to be what you might have been. So harvest the best in you. There's still time. Here's another one. This is from George Bernard Shaw. I love the British and how they language things. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Kathy knows about that. She's creating a new self. She's created a new inner. I've had the privilege of having her in Prosperity Plus classes. But now that inner is coming to the outer. You see? Once you start changing inside, your outside has to change. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, and your physical body and your checkbook and all those things begin to show how you're thinking. And if you don't like any aspect of your life, how are you thinking about it? How are you thinking about it? Freshen it up. Give it a new perspective. And my favorite, from one of my favorites, Abraham Lincoln. Whatever you are, be a good one. Whatever you are, be a good one. Be a good one. Whatever it is you do, do it well. Do it wonderfully. Do it with love. Do it with joy. So you sit back and go, doesn't matter if you're making a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. Yeah. Make that tomato soup instead of with water, make it with half and half. Ooh, you'll be so surprised. Make that grilled cheese sandwich with the best bread you can find. Don't put it in with margarine and flip it. Put it in with real butter. And have really good cheese, the best you can cheese. Not the cheese that comes in packages. Go to the deli and say, I'll have a half a pound of that. And then invite a friend. You've created a feast. It didn't cost you a whole lot. Whatever you do it well. Do it beautifully. Do it. Just do it. Here's another thing I found that I was so joyful, because I love learning. Just like it said, I love learning. And I know as long as I keep learning, I'll never grow old, because you can't grow and become old. Did you know it? It's an oxymoron. Yeah, as long as you're growing, you're young. Yeah, you're young. How many of you know who Charles Dodgson was? He was a British man, born in 1832, single. Anybody? Charles Dodgson. How about Lewis Carroll? Alice in Wonderland. Same man. Charles Dodgson, I don't know why, Charles was a mathematician. I didn't know that till Friday. It was on the board, under the affirmations. I'm writing things down. I'm growing, I'm learning, so I can talk to you on Sunday. It's so exciting. He had a friend whose daughter's name was Alice. Of course. And he was a storyteller. And Alice and her good friend, they used to go out on a little boat and take Sunday trips, and he would tell them stories. So it turns out that there's a lot of mathematics in Alice in Wonderland. I've got to read the book or see the movie again to find out where Charles Dodgson and Lewis Carroll meet up. Yeah. Here's another story about his character I thought was interesting. Where are my cat people in the room? You'll appreciate this. He was walking on a London street one day and found a little kitten with a fish hook in its mouth. And so he picked up the kitten, took it to the vet, held it while the vet took out the fish hook. And here's the interesting part. And then he tucked the little cat under his coat. It was cold. They went back, put it right back on the street where it was, and walked home. That was the beauty of that story. Showing up, doing what is yours to do, not being attached to the outcome. Felt humanly responsible for that little kitten, but didn't need to possess it, hold it, keep it, nurture it. He'd done his part. So one of the beautiful things about life and being grateful and being joyful is appreciating all the Thanksgivings that we're going to celebrate pretty soon, but allowing this one to be a little different. Not having to be attached as to who's there and what you serve and what the china looks like, or if there's china on the table at all. The joy is in a new experience, doing something differently, or doing something that you love and adding a new touch to it. The beauty of Thanksgiving is the people around the table. You know that. But we fuss over what we're going to serve and who's going to sit where, and will we like Aunt Maud better this year than we did last year? Well, don't sit her next to you then if you're still struggling with that. Put her at the end of the table. Yeah. But the whole idea is bring joy, bring life, give thanks, and the most important thing you bring, of course, to anything, is the gift that you are. You take that everywhere, the gift that you are. Today we're going to do a couple of activities that remind us of the gift that we are and why it's so important to give it. to give thanks for who we are, to be joyful in this day and all the others that follow, but mostly this day, because we only have in charge of this day, and this moment, and this hour, and this time. And to bring your gift to the table of life. My theme today is the table of life, and so we've set a beautiful one here. But there are people in our lives that just may benefit from and need a blessing this time of year. They may be close. I'm talking about the people that are still sharing this plane of life with us. So the blessing we're going to do has to do with them. The first blessing. And that is, I'm going to have Phil in a moment dim the lights, but I want you to bring a person to mind, just one person, that may need your gift of prayer. Judy talked about the importance of prayer. We write them, we pray over them, we send them to silent unity. But the power of prayer from person to person in consciousness is very exquisite. It's how we help each other heal. It's how we help each other get on through a next day. How we help each other live. And remember the goodness of God is present in every moment. So this is a song, really, but I'm not going to sing it to you. I'm going to say it to you so you can remember it, hopefully, and say it as you move out through this month of Thanksgiving. I first learned it in YOU, when I was a YOU sponsor way back in the 90s in Sacramento. I've changed it a little, so Denise and Kevin may know it or remember it. And it goes like this. How could anyone ever tell you that you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone ever tell you the beauty of your character, how deeply you're connected to my soul? And it's a prayer, but it's a thanks-living prayer. It's a thanksgiving prayer. It's a prayer that goes out from your heart to whatever loved one that you want to send it to, that affirms them and their life and their gifts. Way too many of us don't have a cheerleader. I know a prayer partner may not always sound or look like or be like a cheerleader, but they are. They're your spiritual cheerleader. So if you'll dim the lights and you'll go into kind of a quiet space in you. And bring that person, just one person. This is just one prayer. It's Jesus and Paul and our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said, before you go to God and pray for anything else, go to your brother. Go to the altar with forgiveness and love. And today we're going, before we ask for ourselves, to the altar of brotherhood. And so as you move through your mind, you'll find that face, and you just want to connect with their face because you want to be looking at them. As I say this for you, let my words be your words as you give them this thanks-living prayer. You are their prayer angel at this moment in time. You may not know even where they are on the planet. Could be someone you worked with a while ago that crosses your mind. Could be a family member or a neighbor who just needs to be prayerfully acknowledged. And maybe you're not geographically close to them, or maybe there's a shyness in you that wouldn't say this face to face. But the important thing is, now, this moment, you are saying it heart to heart. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you that you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice the beauty of your character? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Look them right in the eye of your mind. Smile at them. They need this prayer from you this morning. You may not know their circumstances, their health, their financial condition, but you are called together in this exquisite prayer time, just this one-on-one connection. Your gift of prayer will bring them joy. They may not be able to thank you in person, but their heart will feel your love. And so now, as you look this special person in the face one more time, with all the love that is in you and this smile, how could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice the beauty of your character? How deeply you're connected to my soul. You may want to give them a parting hug, a handshake, and then just let their face fade away. Stay present as you release this moment to God. Take a breath. Breathe in and out that breath of God. You've just been an angel. And in that prayer you are an arm of silent unity in all that's good and all that's God. Loving your brother. Breathing in and out that breath of God. Be present again in this moment. Open your eyes when that's comfortable for you. Feel when you turn on the light, please. And just take a breath. Just take a breath. You've just been holy. You've just had a holy encounter. And now it's your turn. When you came this morning, hopefully you received, if not, we'll give you one, a little square. It's either orange or yellow. I invite you to take that out now. Does anyone not have a little orange or yellow square? Annie, would you be so kind? They're in the basket in the office. Or Phil, you're closer, would you? Yeah, and just keep your hand up and Phil will bring the basket. And you will get an orange or yellow square. If you feel like you're always invited in unity to participate, if you wish. So Phil is getting that basket. I trust, there he comes. So if you don't have one, raise your hand. Phil will make sure that you do. So take that out now if you have that little square. It has a little gold cord on it. Take that out. Here's the process. Here's the Thanks Living tree. You'll see it 3 more weeks. It is the little brother of the Christmas tree, but we want to gently bring you into that season. And so on one side of that card, would you please, there's a pencil in the pew in front of you, or you may have your own pen. Would you print or write your name? Nicely, big, bold, almost fill up that square. You can go diagonally if you have a long name. Write your name. The name that your family and the universe calls you by. write your name on one side. And then on the other side, I want you to write down 3 of your thanks living gifts. What do you bring to the table of life? Are you humorous? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you wise? Are you funny? Are you thrifty? Are you faithful? 3 gifts that you bring to life. They were given to you by God. You have more, of course, but just 3. And those are going to join all the others. And there's some 35 of us in the room, so we'll have some 90 or so gifts on the thanks living tree that live in the world because you bring them there. Are you a good grandparent? Are you a good husband? Are you a good cook? What do you bring to the table of life? And what will you focus on as you harvest the spirit of gratitude? Grateful for these gifts. And from this day forward, you'll use them in a higher way. If you're pretty good at cooking macaroni and cheese, maybe it's time for you to move up and cook beef bourguignon. Maybe if you're pretty good at sewing, this is the year. It's a little late to begin that epic quilt, but maybe you'll sew something. It's not too late to go and get a pair of pillowcases and sew them. Maybe you're a writer, and you've kind of been quiet about it. You've just written nice little things on note cards to your friends. Maybe it's time to set up that folder in your computer that says, Mary the writer, or Joan the author. Maybe it's time. Whatever it is, you have your qualities. All right, now I'm going to ask you to just take those qualities and bless them. Give thanks to God that they are yours. They're yours. You have them. You've named them. They belong to you. The qualities of life. Got it? Everyone ready? Yeah, I'm going to have my friend Ron just noodle a little something. Doesn't matter, Ron, what it is. Phil, if you'll dim the lights and I'll help you up, I want you to come and just tie it. Doesn't have to be. Everyone had an opportunity. Ron, do you want to take a moment? And did you fill out a card? You didn't have a pencil? I'm sorry, we're having this private conversation in front of you. Thank you, Denise. We want to make sure. So just take a moment as we come to a closure in this holy holiday time. We give thanks for our gifts, for the joy of expressing them, and we hold them in a higher light. I don't want this to sound 4th of July-ish, but we pledge our allegiance to this gift, and we honor it. It's God-given. And so we decide today to lift it up to the glory of God. To do it better, stronger, more often, to give thanks to the gifts that we are. So Phil, if you'll turn on the light, I have a thank you gift. I know why your iron is up and all your levels have increased. Do you guys?
It's been here for 2 weeks.
Do you know why all of Jeff's levels are up? Why, Diane?
Because he's been working with us and giving of his time and talent and his prayers and our prayers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anybody in this this room that doesn't believe that? Yes! Yes, you make me want to do the happy dance. That's it. That's it. And we have some chocolate, so yeah. And we have a candle. And we have our Unity Memorial Ornament. Now, I don't know whether you do a Christmas tree, but you'll hang this somewhere. And a basket to fill with love and goodness and all those other things. So we love you and bless you. So you come up here and you take it. Yeah, that's how we do it. And then you guys know it. Annie's already getting ready. Denise knows what we do next. So you hold that. And then I'm going to stand there and bless you. And you look at us. And now we're getting ready. You know what we're getting ready to do? We're getting ready to blast you. Now I see a few hands that aren't rubbing yet. I'm waiting. Okay. So I don't need to tell you how to do this. So it's Dear Jeff. Together? Dear Jeff, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ light shine as you. Yay! He says no words. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You are a blessing. You are the life at our Thanksgiving table. And friends, it doesn't matter who sits at your table. What matters is that they're there with you, celebrating who they are, celebrating who you are, celebrating. Have a wonderful one. God loves you, blesses you, and so do I. Amen.